Good afternoon or evening. Okay, so slightly different update today. I'm just going to show you the area I'm trying to model at the moment, or I'm working on the layout and the design of, and that's the John Deere spur, for want of a better term. So I'm hoping you can see on the screen where this cursor is. So I'll zoom in a bit. Zoomed right out. So these are old aerial photos of the area. This is 1971. I'm modelling late 70s, but I don't imagine there was huge changes in that time. There will have been changes, but the 71 images are particularly good. So here is the switch, or if I've got the right spot on this map. Yes, I have. Okay, here's the switch where the John Deere spur comes off. This track here is the High Line. That's, I think, the old Pokey Road. The spur comes up. You can see here there's a spur coming across. This is Grimmel. I think Grimmel. You go up a bit further. There's Larson transfer, or Lawson transfer. Larson transfer. A little bit further up, you can see as another switch here, and there's a series of hopper cars. These are containing plastic pellets. This is Polytech Corp, and they had 6 spots, I think it says, five spots where they can unload, and as you can see here, it's full at the moment. We go around a little bit further. There's another switch here. This takes us into John Deere, and that had 3 spots outside on each track and 3 spots inside on each track. You come down this way, there's a spur that comes down here, and this is George T. Ryan, along with Stroud Plastics. So Stroud Plastics is this building here, and they get their cars spotted in here and unload to Stroud Plastics, but also the George T. Ryan could unload there. And then we go across. This is LaBelle's here. There was 6 spots, 6 doors and 6 spots there. And this industry here, I don't know who used it. It hasn't got a name on it, but so I assume it was transitioning ownership or something. But you can see the spur runs up and around, so I could never work out when I was looking at this why it was configured that way. But when I visited the site 3 years ago, it was obvious. This track is level and goes in, this track rises up, and this building sits a bit higher than this one. So they're all the spots. You can see it's quite a wide circle, and it goes around to a lot of places. Off to this side, it's bordered by the freeway. I'm going to say the I-35, but I could be wrong. So I'll switch screens now to this one. Okay, so this is my plans for the industry. So we come around. That's Larson Transfer. That's Grimmel. This is Polytech. These two here are John Deere. This is LaBelle. This is the unnamed industry. And this is George Ryan and Co. and Stroud Plastics. This spur up here does exist. It's just it is actually it's reasonably close. I'll switch back to the other screen. Maybe I will. There we go. So that spur there is, I'll zoom in a bit. Oops. Excuse me while I fiddle around here. So that's this spur here, which was Plywood, Minnesota, I think. But there's Plywood, Minnesota is here, and there is another industry just over here somewhere, which is Thompson Hardwoods. So I haven't quite decided which one this is going to be on my layout, but there's just a little spur there that I can sneak in. We'll transition back to the desktop. So looking at this, you can see I've had to compact it down a bit. So this is the upper deck where the high line mainly runs down, and it's running fairly close to the front edge. That's because of these spurs that come out. These green areas are where I'm going to have hatches. So this will be the main one. You'll be able to, that will fold down out of the way. You'll be able to pop up through here, and at this location most of the coupling and uncoupling can be done within reach, and simply you propel the cars into the spur. So the driver will operate on the red area is the raised walkway, so the driver will be over here, and the conductor here doing the controlling the switches and doing the coupling and uncoupling, and hopefully it'll work. I've put another hatch in here just in case there's something goes wrong here. You'll be able to fold that down, pop up, and just reach over the top of the building to address whatever the problem is there. That's not really for operating, that's just a rescue patch. You could probably do it from here too, although there'll be a backdrop running along here, so it might be too hard to reach over the backdrop. So yeah, this will fold down out of the way. It'll swing back to about this point and hang vertically here. All things being equal, if everything goes according to plan. There's not much that area represents. Sorry, I'm just getting the other screen set up. That area represents basically this area here. So there'll be roadways. I probably won't put any buildings over it. I'll have this road running through, so hopefully, there'll just be ground cover, but effectively on top of the hatch. Hopefully it'll work. Like I say, it's actually it's more this area. I guess looking at it, it runs that way. It's just this is all a bit compressed. And I thought I'd show you also where I'm getting a lot of the information about the different industries. So this is a book that the MN&S put out. I believe most railways have them. I've got two versions in here that the MN&S have put out. So this is the 1978 book. So it's MN&S information pertaining to industries served by the Minneapolis, Northfield and Southern Railway, 1st of March 1978, and it's available to download in some of the files on some of the MN&S Facebook groups. So all the industries are listed. The 1000 ones are on the main line. I won't go through them all, but the 7,000 ones are on the High Line. So this is the High Line tracks. So the first industry on the High Line is Worldwide Company. The second is the Masonic Team Track, Thompson's Hardwood and Lumber, at Minnesota Plywood, and there's a lot of information in here. So Thompson Hardwood unloads lumber from boxcars, one track, switch on the south ends, gets only 1 or 2 cars per year. Track will hold 2 cars. The High Line job handles it. The information from dispatcher, demurrage clerk and poop sheets. The industry removes the snow and ice. The MN&S portion is 175 feet. The industry portion is 166.5 feet. And it was built under AFC 1659. Now, if somebody was particularly interested, you could go to the Sioux archives, and they'll be holding the AFC 1659, and you might get very little information, or you might get a full track diagram, fences, buildings, all sorts of stuff. You never know until you look them up. I've looked at a lot of things. I didn't get back as far as 1964. I started in the 70s and worked my way back. Larson transfer, so that's on the loop. It unloads boxcars of various commodities. One track on the north end, placarded doors to the north side to unload. Holds 1 car on the platform, 4 cars on the lead. Things like that. Now, it was interesting in the archives when I was looking, whether or not the MN&S removes the snow and ice or the industry was quite important, because if it was the MN&S, the train crew would do it if they needed to remove it, and the industry would get a bill. for the time that it took the train crew to do it. If the industry do it, the train crew, I assume, just would sit there and wait until it was done, or if it wasn't done in a timely manner, they'd go off and switch somewhere else and maybe only come back when the job was done. So yeah, there's lots of little interesting snippets of information. You can, like I say, they've got these AFEs, I should say. 1866 when Polytech Corp siding went in. So if you go to that, again, it might have a nice diagram. But they used to add to these files. So maybe in the mid 70s they relayed the spur or something like that. It would have a record there saying, spur relayed, or or maybe heavier rail was put in. So this John Deere one, it's got 2 tracks on the switch on the south end. The north track is number 1 track, and number 2 track is on the south. Both tracks will hold 3 cars, usually box cars of lube oil spot on number 1 track, and agricultural implements spot on number 2 track. Placarded doors on either side can be unloaded. Very close clearance between car and platform. Holds 3 car on the lead, and the highline jobs handles. It's protected by an alarm system, so the crews have to call in to disarm, to get the alarm disarmed before they switch. So something like the crew having to call in to get it disarmed. If you're running a dispatcher, you could have the crew have to call the dispatcher to get the alarm disabled. They always have a contact name. So Bob was the man they had to talk to for shipping, and it's got his phone number. Stroud Plastics, it was John, and he's on extension 52. So there's lots of little bits of information. So George T. Ryan Company unloads flat cars of heavy machinery on 1 track in the ramp at the end. At that spot at the moment, a lot of people will have seen photos of the MN&S caboose out in this area. I'm not sure which number it is, but that's sitting on this track. So 1 car at the ramp and 2 on the lead. Now, if we go to Stroud Plastics up here, it's got 1 track, holds 6 cars, spotted at vacuum tubes, unloads off the G&T Ryan spur, which is the GT Ryan spur, which is this one. So in this it says it holds 3 cars, and up here it says it's got 6 car spots. So I don't know how that works. I do know that these days, I'm not sure if it's still Stroud, but there's somebody there, and they spot cars on what would effectively be the main line of this spur. So if we swap back to the screen, so this is the spur we're looking at here, and these days they do spot cars right out here which blocks access to these tracks, but maybe they don't mind. I'm not sure how they do it, but that's what they do, or how they did it, but that's what they do now. This John Deere is now the Progressive Rail, or Progress Rail, whatever it is that run out there. It's a big transfer facility, so they just shove the cars in, unload them with anybody's goods, and it's quite busy. In fact, I'll take a bit of a risk here and see if I can find this right now. Oop. Here we go. Alright. No, it's not going to work on me. I shouldn't have tried it. Sorry, I have video of the spur being switched by Progress Rail back in 2023, I think it is.
Oh, sorry.
No, I can't get it up. That's unfortunate. Sorry. Anyway, I hope that gives you a bit of an idea of what's going on. I'll show you what it looks like nowadays. So this is Google Earth, an invaluable tool. So obviously it's it's colour for a start. So there's a new spur in here, which doesn't exist in my area, so which is handy. You can see all these cars. So you imagine there's 2 roads there. There's 3 cars on each of those inside. Sitting outside, you've got 2 here, 2 there, and then there's another 4 cars sitting out here at the moment. So yeah, they keep it. They're pretty busy in there. There was this was timber, I think, from memory. There was a heap of center beams loaded with timber that was all sitting in here, and when I was there last time, you can see a lot of, there's a building over here that wasn't there before. This building is significantly bigger, twice the size. There's that MN&S caboose there. There's hopper cars on this. So if we go in, you can actually have a look around. So in this shot, there's hoppers stored here. This track is going up to the other industry up there. You turn around, that's the track, that's the line back out to the main line, and this spur here was the George T. Ryan company. It goes oh, sorry, I've gone too far. Where are we? That's over there. The point there is the George T. Ryan. and that runs down over there. I don't think there's anywhere you can. Yeah, the car park. They didn't drive into the car park with the Google van. Yeah, so that's the spur there. You can go in and drive around all these areas. It's long as you don't get anybody's way, it's no big deal. I was in there a couple of years ago. I didn't know who owned this, so I just stayed over here and took photos around that way. These are just public roads. You can see here that these buildings line up, but that spur over there swung across and pulled in there. These are a later addition because it says there's 3 door spots, so you can just see a little mark there. That's one of them. That's another one, and the third one would have been down here, but they've put in some truck unloading docks. It's still a busy place. The other industries I talked about a lot were the Masonic team track and the Worldwide company. So they're down here. So this is the area here. You've got quite a bit of running there, and you zoom in down here, and this was the Worldwide company. The switch was here, came in, and the doorway was there. We can have a look at that. So that's the doorway that the spur went in. As you can see, a massive building. So my model will go from here to about here. All that will be off scene, and yeah, you look at that, and like I say, massive building, but it's always pays to check the old photos because you can see the size of it there. If I have them downloaded at the moment, and I'm not sure that I do. I was looking for something else, and I think I'm just off. So I'll quickly download I shall try to quickly download an image. So this is just to the south of it a little bit. So here we go. This one just catches it on the side of the image. So you can see there. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 segments of roofing. Now that I've said this, I'm thinking that the other one does too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was the same size. There's something had changed in the time that I can't remember what. I think all these these attachments are new. So if you sort of go and look at the building, you'll see yeah. So there's a building across there. There's just little offices here, but nothing there. So if you're modelling that portion, yeah, it's always worth going back and having a look at the images over time, because the buildings change and quite often grow. If we go back to here, you can see it. Sorry, it's this building here, by comparison on Google Earth. The Masonic team track was in here. It ran in on a spur there. The switch was just this side of the crossing. So we'll go back over here. So this is the same building. You've got 1, 2, 3 panels of roof, phases of roofing, and here you've only got the 2. There's a third segment has gone on in later days. Anyway, too much rambling. I'll stop here, and hopefully this will be able to be uploaded.